Back in 1984, it was tiny red carpet's fiber from the floor of a car that alerted police that they had a serial killer on their hands.
Before we start today's video, I would like you to subscribe to Life Before Pixels if you like videos of history-related events.
It started in the spring of that year when police found the body of Peggy, a 19-year-old from Southern California who had just quit her job at a Tampa nightclub to go back to college. Two boys walking in a vacant field near an interstate pass were the first to find her in May, nude and strangled with a rope around her neck. Right at that scene, we realized we had a problem. Hillsboro's County Sheriff's Office Captain Gary Terry told Congress in 1986. They decided to take the evidence from the scene to the FBI in Washington, and that's how authorities detected the fiber that would later become the crucial piece of evidence. 2 weeks later, Sims was found bound by ropes, her throat slashed, again in a field near an overpass. Then came the third body, the fourth and fifth and sixth, with little physical evidence pointing police to a suspect, except for the same red fibers. But then there was Noland. She was 17 and working a double shift at the Krispy Kreme on November 3, 1984. She had left the donut shop around 2 a.m. and she had no plans to return. Noland said she had been molested for 3 years by her grandmother's boyfriend and had been planning to end her life. The suicide note that she had written the night before was on her mind as she pedaled home. But then suddenly, a hand was grabbing her and the cold tip of a pistol was pressed against her left temple. She started screaming and then saying, "God, whatever you do, just don't kill me." He dragged her to his car, a red Dodge Magnum. He ordered her to undress, bound her, blindfolded her, and drove her back to his apartment. There, for hours, he raped her over and over. At a certain point, Noland said, she asked him, "Why are you doing this to me?" He told her to get back at women. An unemployed X-ray technician and a 10th grade dropout from West Virginia, Bobby Joe Long, had just came to the end of 2 bad relationships. He and his school sweetheart were divorced, and then he found out his new girlfriend was seeing another man. His mother, Loyola Long, remembered the day her son called and said, "I can't find any decent girls in the world." 2 months later, the bodies started piling up. Noland said she zeroed in on his bad experience with women, trying to be sympathetic, compassionate. She had invented a story about being the sole caretaker of a sick parent so that he would feel sympathetic for her. At 4:30 the next morning, he ordered her back into the car, still blindfolded but now clothed, and dropped her on the curb in the neighborhood. Once she made it home, she told her grandma and her grandma's boyfriend that she was kidnapped. The man thought she was lying, but the police believed her. She started from the beginning, revealing only what she could glimpse by peeking underneath her blindfold. She knew she was in a red car, the Dodge Magnum she had spotted as she pedaled past it that night. She knew the car had a red carpet, virtually the only thing she could see while tied up in the back seat. And immediately, the police perked up. Like many of the victims, Noland's clothes also contained the same tiny red fibers. But as police combed through the registration records for hundreds of Dodge Magnums in the area, 2 other women Virginia Lee Johnson, 18, and Kim Marie Swan, 21, would disappear and end up dead within the next few days that November. Police knew it was the work of the same man. The red fibers were there again. When police staked out the area where Noland believed she had been taken, authorities finally saw the red Dodge Magnum they believed they were looking for. Beginning a 36-hour surveillance operation, on November 16, 1984, police arrested Long for Sim's death. He had no explanation for what he had done. After his arrest in 1984, Long, 65, ultimately confessed to killing 10 women and raping dozens of others in the Tampa area between March and November of that year. It was like A, B, C, D. I pull over. They get in. I would drive a little way. Stop. Pull out a knife, a gun, whatever. Tie him up, take him out, and that would be it. He told CBS News in a pre-trial interview in 1986. Long, one of Florida's most notorious serial killers, died by the lethal injection at 6:55 p.m. Thursday, after 34 years on death row. The pain of the families of the victims had dragged for 3 decades as they waited for Long's execution in April 2019. Noland said she wished she could have said something to him. She said she wanted to tell him, "Thank you." From the time he kidnapped her to when he released her, she said, he had given her a reason to fight for her life and to potentially save the lives of future victims. She later ripped up the suicide note. Noland dedicated her life to helping others. She is currently a Master Sergeant with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, where she works as a school resource officer at Davidson Middle School.